Cross and all, welcome back to Fearless and Devotion with me, Andy, and Tim's joining us this afternoon. We're going to look over Leicester and have a quick sort of preview to Friday night's game against Birmingham. Last Friday, the last time we played Birmingham was a Friday, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think so.
Under the lights, good atmosphere. Oh, I tell you what, that was the first time we had the new floodlights, and one of them nearly gave me epilepsy.
Wow. I mean, those they do have the propensity to give you epilepsy, no doubt. If you have suffered, let us know. I'm sure
Yeah,
there's
no flashing lights on this on
there's
this podcast.
no
Nothing
bells and
high
whistles,
tech on this
nothing.
podcast.
Yeah. Yeah, and yeah, weird one that. I've still got a thing about the floodlights. I still want to know where the old ones went. Like that, I wanted to have a piece of shrapnel or a bulb. Nothing.
A
But
bulb? Bloody hell, it'll be half your face if you be
yeah,
half your front room. If you turned it on, you're able to
but
see into next door.
you know what I mean? You've got all this upcycling malarkey now. I could turn it into a proper little like floor lamp with a big ass bulb. It'd be amazing. But anyway, if you know where those floodlights ended up, please let us know.
Yeah. If
Hopefully
they
not the
ended up on the
salvage
back
yard.
door, brilliant, because they're our sponsors and we can go and see them. See what a brilliant segue that was.
We need to
And
do more
also,
of those segues, definitely in
yeah,
future.
uh,
Yeah.
and also, please subscribe to the newsletter. One's just gone out. It's pretty good. In it, we pour through. We pour through not only the Derby match, which we've sort of talked about, but we also pour through Leicester, which Tim and I were at last night. Great ground, really, to be honest. That is so easy. I've been saying this for the last couple of weeks, but it's like we really arrived in the championship. And every time we go to a new ground, I'm like, oh, yeah, we've really arrived, haven't we? But to go away to a place like that and actually get a result, even if it was a bit of a rope-a-dope display where we took a lot of pressure, but then hit them on the break. I mean, fair play, good substitutions. Parky doesn't always get credit for making substitutions, but he brought the right people on at the right time, and we got a result. So overall, how do you sort of reflect on it, Tim?
It was great, wasn't it? It was great. I mean, other than getting in and out of Leicester, which is an
I
absolute
don't even want to talk
pain.
about
Yeah.
getting in and out of Leicester,
Well,
please.
yeah,
I've got
it was just shit. If you're going to build a new stadium, which they've done, make sure you've got the road infrastructure around it, which you haven't got. So
everything was a four-way junction with traffic
horrible.
lights that took two minutes to change, and then everything went from a double lane to a single lane. Do you know, I got stuck in one place. I had to go all the way around, come out again, got stuck in a different place. I was 40 minutes trying to get out of Leicester, and I just wanted to get out of the bloody place. No
Yeah,
wonder everyone left on 84 minutes.
I know now we know. Now we know why everybody's late. It's dead weird. It took me like 45 minutes, the last 2 miles on a bus, than what it did an hour beforehand. It was just mental. And as I was so fed up with with the bus in the end. I ended up blagging a lift off a mate, Anthony, who gave us a lift back.
Yeah.
And he parked up, paid for parking off like an industrial estate, just slightly, probably a 10-minute walk away from the stadium. As we were walking to the car, this Leicester fan wound the window down. He goes, "Are you travelling back tonight?" Like, yeah, to Wrexham. Yeah. Fair play, lads. We'll see you in the Premier League, he said. And that was it. Like he
Oh, well,
made
he's
out
nice.
like just
He's
because
just
we're
got a
from a
distinct
different
lack of
country.
geography, but he's
Yeah,
nice.
yeah. It's not like, we haven't travelled from Moscow to be here. It's such a weird thing. And we were looking at each other, perplexed, going, is he taking the piss or what? And it
That's
was
70
genuinely
miles, isn't
serious.
it?
It's 100 mile.
Oh, right,
Um,
okay.
but it's cross country and it's crap. But we've laboured the point that it is crap to get in and out of Leicester that
Well,
much.
if
Is
anyone's got the address for the Leicester Town Planning
yeah.
department, can you please send it to me so I can send them a shit in a box?
Again,
Yeah,
well, there we are. But in answer to your question, it was great because, like you said, the ground was great. Always special big grounds when it's a Tuesday night match. You kind of get a bigger feel of the scale of it
yeah.
when it's lit up, and we can take the piss out of their pre-match light show. But if you've got the capacity to do it, you do it, don't you? Whatever.
If you've got Kasabian, use Kasabian. We
Yeah.
do the same with K Class if we could get the rights.
Yeah, that's well, yeah. It's a
Maybe
nice little.
maybe the Royston Club one day, but you know that's
Well, they've played it. They've played that. They were playing the Royston Club the other day actually before the Derby game. But yeah, it was good, wasn't it? And like, I can't. I said this to a few people before we arrived. I said there has to be a point where we have to appreciate what we've done in recent years and where we've come from. Don't forget where you've come from, etc. But you have to kind of like park it and go, we're here now.
yeah,
We've arrived. We
yeah,
are a championship club as
yeah.
opposed. Like it was like when we were in the National League, we went from being an ex-football league club to an established National League club because of the amount of time we're in there. And I don't think it would be remiss to say, you know what? Yes, we've built and we've come up very, very quickly, way ahead of what we should have done. But I think we can now just go, you know what, we're a pretty all right championship team. You know, early indications would suggest.
No, no. I mean, we said it in the newsletter this week. It finally sort of hit me that we're we have arrived in the championship. We can go to away to places like that, and you know we're not going to dominate the game for 90 minutes. We probably that was at some points where we had 25% possession, but what we did do is hang on in there. And when they were teetering a little bit, we put the foot on the throat, and we got what probably I'd say, yeah, hell, we deserved it. We
Yeah,
deserved that point.
their manager said as much.
Yeah.
He said we deserved it, and like there's a few Leicester fans grumbling. One called us absolute pony. I haven't heard that insult for ages. That's class.
I'll keep carrying on with that. That's fair. That's fair enough.
Yeah, and you know, bang average was trotted out again. Usual stuff. I'm thinking, you know what? We had a couple of decent chances. We fluffed our lines first half. Um, Obviously they hit the sort of woodwork. Arthur really should have done better with their goal, but similar to Derby, it was the correct result. It was the right result. You know, if you look at it objectively, and think that's a fair result. It was the same against Derby. So I just don't want to. I don't want it to get to Friday and go, well, that was an unfair result. We should have got something from that. So I really want to put it on them. We'll
No,
come
it was
to
good. It's
we'll come
good
to
because
that. But
you could see Parky, he was starting to rest players for Friday. So he took
yeah.
Kabore off, he took Sheaf off, he took Moore off. And you're thinking, I said to Max, he was next to me, I
Mm.
said, if we can grab something from this, it's an absolutely brilliant result to set us up for Friday, uh, where we can, you know, it's a lot of games in a short space of time. And it's a lot for the likes of, you know, 32-year-old Kiefer Moore to drag that massive frame around the pitch for so long. But it looks like we're in a position now to really build. And I think if we can beat Birmingham, who don't look brilliant, who haven't developed as much as we have in the championship, they haven't spent as much
Mm.
money, but you know they spent a lot of money last season. Then I think you know I'm quietly confident of this season. One thing I would like to say, Tim, and I don't know what you think on that. Ever since that Talksport nonsense about Parky and behind the scenes meetings, I think it's really galvanized the fans with him. I don't
Yeah.
think we've ever been as close to Parky in many ways. I mean, I think that was sort of underlined last night where we were singing Parkinson's Red and White Army. Now that
Yeah.
is an old chant which we reserved for Brian Flynn. It was always
Yeah.
Brian Flynn's Red and White Army, and sometimes Dennis Smith's Red and White Army.
Yeah.
You know, never Brian Hughes's Red and White Army, never Kevin Wilkins. But that you only get that chant when you're a special manager, and I think we've sort of come together with Parky. You know, you got the freedom of Wrexham Council last week for all he's done for the team and the town. I just feel that with Parky, we're 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 a lot closer than we have been. I think a lot of people respect how he's managed to bring in those players and get them playing as a unit so quickly. Even the
Mm.
naysayers knew that this is a huge step up, and the way he's managed to do that, with the helps of you know Sean Harvey and the people who brought it in, I think it's been fantastic, and I think that's why I'm so confident going into the rest of the season.
You all already know this is going to be a documentary subject in waiting. You just know it, right? Because that stuff came from a very unreliable clickbait source, and then that's just spiraled and dominoed, and then people are suddenly saying, "Well, he's under pressure." I'm like, "Is he? You
He's
know,
never under
is he
pressure with me. Yeah.
really?" And then, so I think that there's no, absolutely no doubt. I know Parky's as a manager, you take no notice of it. I guarantee at some point, they would have said that not the top 20 pod has put you as the worst manager in the division. He's doing all right so far, you know,
He
and
was being asked, mate. He was being asked questions about it in press conferences.
well, yeah,
I mean,
that's the weird thing, and I think the reason that's probably why it's galvanized is because strangely, because we've and it's testament to how good he and the squad he's assembled in the past have been, because that question is very rarely been brought to the table with any sort of justification because how well we've done. I think his longest winless streak is something like 4 games prior to this season, if even that. So I think it's a case of really, are you really having a pop at a
Oh,
man
mate.
who's achieved this? And I think at some point, basically, we've circled the wagons as fans and
Yeah.
said no, because we know what the narrative is something of old that we've been over. Parkinson's got a poor championship record, and so it'll come to pass again. Why you can't? Well, you know what? Yesterday was 50 days since the season started. He's basically got a brand new squad singing to his tune in 50 days. Do not tell me he's the worst manager in the championship, because it's absolute bollocks.
Yeah, no, you're right. And no, Parky's championship record is with the likes of Bolton, where that team and
Yeah.
that club was coming apart at the seams, and he still managed to keep them up. With everything that he had going on off the field, he still managed to keep them up. Um, and yeah, he's only got one formation. Doesn't bloody matter when it works, does it? And it worked last night as well.
Because he's not a sexy, fashionable managerial name like Marty Cufuentes or whatever his name was. Because he's not that sexy sort of
Yeah,
overseas
foreign.
name.
Yeah,
Yeah, people just think, oh well, he can't be that good of a manager. Yeah, realistically, the UK, the British fan base, should be looking at homegrown managers, going, you know what, he's done bloody well. All right, he's not
Parky
a
for
young
England.
up and. But, but you know what I'm saying? It's just I just think it's madness that there's a lot of up and coming younger managers that people saying, "Oh, look at Scott Parker, look at this, look at that." But then look at the old guard. Look at the old guard. And look at what they're doing. Look at how they're adapting and taking on new methods in their stride and embracing it. Whereas Parker could have gone down with the greatest respect. Probably Gary Mills is probably the example to use. He could have gone down that route and go, "Nope, these are my tried and tested ways from this era, and I will bring them into this era, and they will still work."
Develop them.
Ain't gonna
And
work.
that within that 3-5-2, we've developed a style and a team. And it's not just about twatting big balls, high balls up to the big man. There was some great passages of play. I thought it was a very interesting tactical battle yesterday. The Leicester high press squeezed everything, and we were trying our very best to get out of it. With varying degrees of success. Leicester had us pinned. And I think when Sheaf was on, he was trying the longer ball to try and sort of hit the wings and break it that way. I tell you what actually changed it is when Matty James came on,
Yeah,
and as a defensive mid, he just brought us a little bit further up. And I think he was playing, rather than trying the raking ball, he was playing a little 5-yard inside forward pass, which began to open things
yeah.
up and began to get us going the other way. And I think that was proved with the goal where Lewis O'Brien, who we'll probably talk about later, never stops running, never stops harrying. And got the ball, passed it into Broadhead, who's just got that. He's got that little bit of wow, the little X factor that you probably need. And I found,
I want him to look happy when he scores. It looks like he's gonna cry at any given moment. And you've seen that picture that BBC Sport have used where keeper's just wrapped him up,
yeah,
protecting him from harm. It's it's such a good goal. It's such
oh,
a
it's a
good move.
brilliant finish. He
Let's come to
strikes
it.
the ball so well, doesn't he? And it
Yeah, it's
curls. And it
sweet.
was the
Yeah.
same against Reading. And you know what, mate? The knives were out for him until the 75th minute of Reading. And then he scored that goal out of nothing. And he shows us why Parky has bought him and made him the club record. Because if you've got a player who can come on and conjure that up from nothing, that is worth all the 8 million or whatever we paid for him. That's something that I was going to say you can't buy it, but yeah, you can buy it because we just bought it.
But I mean, yeah, let's look at the before we look at Birmingham. Let's look at who impressed and who maybe could have done better without sounding too entitled. But Lewis
Are you going to
O'Brien.
start at the back? Are you going to start with the keeper?
Well, yeah, okay. Well, I don't want to go through them hugely individually. I didn't think Arthur. It was okay. I just think
His kicking was okay. His kicking was a lot better yesterday.
yeah, and it's a good finish from Jordan James, yes. But you look back at it and you're thinking, oh, he just got a stronger hand to it. I don't know. Could he have got down quicker? Maybe. You don't want to kind of cross-examine it too much, really, because at this stage
All
of
I
the
would say on
season,
that, mate, is 9 times out of 10 in training, he saves that.
Yeah.
Absolutely saves it. I wonder if he thought he was going in the top corner and his body position was sort of to try and sort of go that way. It went down low and it went down close to him, to be honest. And I think that's caught him out a little bit. And he hasn't got down quick enough to get it. And it looks horrible, but
Yeah.
really and truly, it could happen to any keeper at any point.
That
I
that is the
think
that is the perfect 1-2, by the way. It's the perfect 1-2
brilliant,
before the goal.
brilliant. Yeah, it's brilliant.
So,
All I would
um,
say about Arthur is we have to stick with him because Arthur is at a very key point in his, not just in his Wrexham
yeah, yeah,
career, but this is a guy who's young and wants to know, is he good enough at championship level? And it's probably a lot of it's in his head and it's his confidence. And once he knows he's good enough at championship level, he will go from strength to strength. But what we can't do at the moment is not back him. What we can't do is, we can't sort of give up on him or say, well, Burton's got to go in goal. No, Arthur's our number one at the
yeah.
moment. We have to back Arthur. We have to help him build his confidence to get out of this little rut he's in, and then Arthur will show how good he is. Because we saw those reaction saves against Derby, how fantastic he can be. He came out and caught some stuff yesterday. There was a few things that worried me about his game, but we are here for Arthur, and we need to be supportive of him and help him through this. And I think as a fan base we can, and I think the raw potentials of that guy, uh, uh, you know, they're off the charts if we can just get it together in his head at the moment. So it's a key point. We stick with him. That's one thing to say. Kabore on the right, what a special talent we've got there.
I mean, he's nothing like Reece Johnson, as some observers would care to suggest. um, yeah, we're partial to a winger who gets us off our seats and makes it look easy. I mean, sometimes because of the angle of that pitch yesterday at Leicester, you couldn't get a true reflection of it. Is he going to get to it? Isn't he? And maybe after the first time, we were like, he's always going to get to it because I'd love to know. He must surely now be the fastest player at the club. I think previously was it James Jones that said bizarrely, was he the
Oh, was
fittest? I
it?
can't remember.
That's interesting. I
Either
knew, I
way,
knew he was the fittest. I didn't know he was the
yeah,
fat.
it might be the fittest, not the fastest, but I mean, Kabore has to be up there. But he's just tremendously aware of what's going on. He knows where the ball is coming. He's pointing to where it wants to go.
Yeah,
He already thinks, well, I'm going to beat this guy. I'm going to beat my man. And if I don't beat him, I'm going to win a foul out of it, as was the case with Derby on several occasions.
yeah.
His defensive work is great. It's just his all round game. Naturally, there's going to be things to improve upon, but there could have been a couple of occasions yesterday where I just think maybe he could have released the ball a little bit quicker into the box, or that time where he had the shot, kind of lashed it wildly over.
No, I think at that point he was due a shot, to be honest,
Yeah,
because he was
yeah,
getting in. I think every now and again you have to be a bit selfish and,
yeah.
and
But I
go for
think,
it. And if he twats
yeah,
that in, fair play.
yeah, he went for the spectacular where
Yeah,
maybe you kind of got to go low, and if it doesn't go in, then maybe you got to follow up from it. But yeah, his overall contribution in a short space of time so far has been absolutely like off the chart, and it's just excited to watch. I mean, that he's nailed that as a regular starter,
oh,
110%.
definitely.
Nobody's usurping that there. So yeah, really good. Yeah, just a lot of positives in the way we play the game. Always controlled, still that element of control again. No panic. There was a couple of
No,
moments when Max got caught out, but he got up. And he's like, "Wasn't no point panicking." One of my mates will bail me out, and I think I want to say James McLean bailed him out maybe once on one occasion when he came on, but there was
yeah,
a couple of little things where, and this is the key thing for me, right? And I think it's something that we've probably not discussed in too much detail because you don't know how far you want to labour the point, but there was always the worry of because the amount of turnover in personnel, whether you're going to truly be able to replicate that kind of dressing room spirit, that band of brothers, like you will fight for this club, you will fight for this shirt, and you will fight for each other.
yeah. You're buying into something coming to Wrexham. Yeah,
Yeah, and you know what? Whether we can truly see it overtly, there is a culture there now. There is a culture in place at that club. You know what that truly is, word for word. If you wanted to describe it, is quite hard to do, but he's just got them fighting for each other again, like almost like scrap when you need to scrap.
Yeah.
but play like you can. And he's just giving, especially away from it, he's just giving them the freedom to go and express themselves and go,
Yeah.
just go and show what you're made of. And that dressing room message would have been, look, you're on the big stage, you're here because you've earned the right to be here. Go and show them that we're more than capable. And that to me, because of the measure of the game and because of the opponent and everything else, that to me was probably the most statement like performance and result we've had maybe
Yeah.
this year, arguably.
Yeah. And you know, the man who really leads this from the front is Lewis O'Brien, because you know he battles when he needs to battle. He can play when he needs to play, and I love the way he just hunts down a player and robs the ball off him and really gets us on the front foot. So I think, yeah, definitely Lewis O'Brien. I think he's a very strong contender for Player of the Season if he carries on like this. We love doing this after the first couple of games, don't we? You know, we more or less presented George Dobson with the award last season, and then he went to someone else. But O'Brien's been good. For Dobson, he's fantastic. He's like a marauding sort of. I thought he was less effective last night because he was chasing shadows a little bit, and you know that on a team like that where he can't really hair around and grab it off people, they were just too quick for him, really. So yeah, I'm not saying he had an off night because he put the effort in. It's just it didn't really come off for him.
But the beauty we've got now, and like previous seasons, arguably, is that if you get one player having a sort of subpar game, it tends not to be that noticeable because of the quality that you've got surrounding them in that
Yeah,
particular part of the field. But O'Brien, I mean, robbing that defender in the first place and setting up Broadhead's one thing, and then he went and did exactly the same thing
yeah,
again.
he
I
did.
mean,
Yeah.
you just went, he's done it again. And from our angle, we were like, how's he managed that? Because we all thought the ball was going out.
No,
We
I
all
know.
thought the
He
ball
sort of wraps his foot round it and just
wraps his
makes it a
foot
going
round it.
concern. Yeah,
Yeah,
he
it's
does.
kind of like a reverse nutmeg. And
Yeah,
he reminds me, there's definitely a touch of like Jay Harrisy
yeah,
stuff,
definitely.
just like tenacious rat, I suppose, for whatever better word. You just can't shake him. You can't shake him. And you know, we're fortunate that he could still play last night because we keep harking back to that Derby tackle. You know, everything's a win.
Yeah, yeah. If we had VAR, he wouldn't have been playing last night. Other sort of points to the team. I thought Longman battled well, but I'd really like to see Kakache back. And it was worrying me that he's been out for
Who?
so long. Yeah, yeah.
Has
But
his
I just
dad
think
got
that
him
would,
back in the kitchen down in New Zealand? It's like, right, get back here. You know,
yeah.
used to Wrexham while you're injured, get in that kitchen. Start cooking up some
Yeah.
grub.
Well, yeah. I'm sure his dad would put him to work if he could.
Mm.
Look, but I just think that would just give us much nicer balance on the team because you'd have two wing backs able to go past people on their preferred foots. And I just don't think Longman trusts himself to go past someone on the left. He's very
Yeah,
good at receiving the ball. He'll whip a crossing and everything, but sometimes you just need someone to commit a defender and go past them. I'm not really sure Longman's got that confidence to do it
that
on his wrong side.
that area already to me says that is an area of improvement. If that
Yeah.
doesn't sort of manifest over the
Yeah,
next few
James
months,
McLean, fair play to Jimmy McLean. When he came on, we looked a lot better there, and he
give
was
him a lot of
robbing.
space. They give
Yeah,
him
yeah,
surprising amounts of space, really.
yeah. So all in all, to a man, I thought they battled extremely well, and even when they were getting pinned back and couldn't break out the press, they found a way to do it. And with Broadhead, I think Broadhead will probably have to play on Friday. I can't see Josh Windas's
Mm.
uh,
Yeah, what was that?
yeah,
What
yeah,
was that
ankle
injury?
going down. Yeah, it's horrible. I mean, so I think that's why they thought that the Thomas, the left back, should have been sent off. A lot of people
Right.
thought he should have been sent off. I
He
mean,
was
I didn't
subbed,
see
wasn't
it.
he? He was subbed
Yeah,
at half time.
yeah,
He
I
was
didn't see
struggling
it.
with
He had a
ball.
yellow. I'm not sure if that was the same incident, but it wasn't something that was obvious to us in the stands. It's just set us up brilliantly for Friday. So we got Birmingham again. Would you say there's a rivalry? I don't really think there's a rivalry.
It's what did we used to call the Stockport one in the end? I think Russ from Bagara War
El
Pod said it.
Shitico.
Yeah, El Kashiko, Shittigo. I think was it just a kind of situational rivalry? I don't remember what it was now, but I think I don't think there is as much this season. I think last season there was a lot of prominence placed on it. A, because of the relevant takeovers and Birmingham following suit with Brady and the documentary and the hoo ha that came with that, especially at their place. You know, they had a light show as well. Did we have a light show for it? I kind of want to say we did. Um,
They had
yeah,
quite a bit. The
yeah.
razzmatazz there, didn't they?
And I think because at that time, because of the money that was being spent, and because of the sort of scale of that game and the amount of media sort of hoo ha that came with it, it was a bigger deal then. I don't think it's a bigger deal now because they will feel that they're rightly back in their place in the championship and a place to push on. Whereas we're like, well, you know, we're here. We'll have a good crack at it. So I think there's definitely an element. The pressure is on them. They're having a crappy time of it. They started
I
well.
mean, there are a couple of places above us. They've got 11 points. We've got 9. I just think that they really thought they were going to push on, and a lot of
But
people had them in the top 6. And that doesn't mean that they won't turn it around and go on a good run, because that's the beauty of the championship. We could do that. We could win 3 or 4 in a row and be right up there. Looking at their team, I think there's a few sort of question marks over Davis's selections.
they've only won once in the last 6 in all competitions.
Mm,
You know, that was they beat Oxford 1-0, then they lost to Port Vale at home in the EFL Cup. They lost at Leicester 2-0. Lost to Stoke, beat Swansea. So it was 2 actually, and then obviously lost to Coventry 3-0 at the weekend, then a surprise 2 each with Sheffield
yeah, and
Wednesday.
that
But
was a
that's what
very
Sheffield,
last minute. They
yeah.
like a last minute goal, and that's something we have to be aware of. There's a few times this season they've either won it or equalised late
But
on.
I think compare the teams last season side by side to now, we've bridged that gap
Oh,
significantly.
yeah, we're massively different to where
Yeah,
we were. So at home, we were outclassed at St Andrews last
yeah.
season, but at home we ran them very, very close, and I've got a good feeling we're going to do
Mm.
it again. And I don't know if you want to go into predictions, because we're going. This is a bit of a shorter one
Well,
this time.
I was looking at their team again. They've got Clara at the back, who's still a big unit, big threat from set
Yeah.
pieces. You've still got Iwata, who's probably a broadheady kind of player in that he's very creative and
It's
can
deep
unlock
lying. He
things.
ripped us apart at St Andrews, but
Yeah,
we got on him at the race course, and it was a different
yeah.
sort of matter.
Damari Gray, decent on the left. Obviously, Stansfield, much has been made from him. I saw his goal last night. It's actually a very well taken goal. He got very lucky with the kind of the bounce of the ball, but it was a very well taken goal. But again, it's just another test. It's another real good matchup. There's going to be good matchups across the park. It's going to be a great atmosphere, and I've no doubt that the club and you know the sort of the team around the players will get that recovery right. They were in today for recovery. The ones that didn't play will be training as well whilst the others recover.
Yeah.
And it'll be very interesting to see what, if any, changes will be made. You based on the Windass showing the injury of his very swollen ankle and bruised foot all over. I'd imagine, unless he's been stuck in one of those ice tanks for a few hours today, that I don't know. I don't know. But, I mean, he just put
I mean,
ouch.
looking at that, that's too painful to train. So even if it does recover in time, you
Yeah,
can't really
bench
condition yourself. I don't know.
potentially.
I think if you take another kick on that, that's
Mm,
pretty
yeah,
bad.
but the thing, but
I can't see him playing on that. We need
will he?
Reese. Where's the medical marvel? It is Reese. I'm sorry.
Well, yeah.
I was looking. I mentioned we really got on Owata at the race course. We got on him so much he didn't even play. That's how
Okay.
much we got in his head. Yeah.
um. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, Parky might think he might risk him for the bench because he then got international break, so there is elements
Okay.
of longer recovery after that. What other changes do you make for Birmingham? Do you?
I
uh,
would keep it the same, other
Mm,
than if Kache was fit, and I don't know
mm,
where he is on his recovery. I would look to play him, but I think Broadhead coming in for Windass is probably the only change I would make. But you could tell that he, with how early he made the subs of the key players, that he was thinking that he was going to go the same. I just think in as you're trying to build a new squad, you need to build a team, and so I think if you can play the same people together for a length of time, it gets that understanding when you brought in 13 or 14 new players. So if you can play the same 11 or as close to it, for me, you do. And everyone will benefit from that.
How good was Lewis Brunt, by the way? Another ex Leicester player.
Yeah, and Doyle's got a fight
Really?
on his hand, by the way, because he came in with a big fanfare.
Yeah.
And the first couple of games, he did look classy. And it's almost like Brunt's had to go away and think about it and said, right, okay, well, I was first choice last season. I've got the potential, but I need to play games.
Yeah.
And games is what will get Lewis Brunt from one level to the next, especially in the Championship. He's gone away. He's thought about it. And, Brunt's another one like Arthur. He's got all the raw ingredients. He's tall, he's pacey, he can come out with the ball, he can pass. It's about him putting it together in his head to know that he's good enough at that level. And games will do that. Games will do it for Max as well.
Yeah.
So, should we end this with predictions?
Yeah, I'm sure there is other business to have, but me and Andy are winging this on a bit of a prayer this afternoon, so we'll just address anything of that nature.
That's what Sunday's for.
Sunday. Yeah, Sunday, and yeah, okay. Predictions. I'm going 2-1. I'm just fancying a 2-1. I don't see it at what point we stop scoring. I know we scored in every game so far. I don't see that changing. I genuinely don't. So yeah, 2-1, and they'll get a late consolation, as in line with your late goal policy, and then we'll all be shitting ourselves for about 5 minutes until the whistle is sounded.
I'm a bit more positive. I think we're going to win by 2 goals. I think it's going to be the statement home performance that we've been waiting for.
6-4.
2-0. 2-0. I think we'll shut them out, and we'll score at the right times, and we'll bring on people from the bench, which is our key thing at the moment. We've got quality and people just as good in the positions we're taking off. And look, I can see us winning, and bring it on, Blues fans, because I know you will. And
8 o'clock kickoff, international break, and then back in action at Stoke. Almost 4,000 tickets for that one, so that'll be fun.
Yeah, and don't forget about our live night on the 16th. There's still a few tickets left, I think, aren't there?
Few tickets. Louis Moat has confirmed that we're just dotting out a few of the bits and bobs to get those over the line, but it'll be fun regardless. It usually, hopefully, almost certainly is. But yeah, there's go to the Mize Gwyn website, and the link is there for tickets. But I think there's about maybe 15, 20 left. So,
and I think that's it. So thanks very much for this this sort of redacted midweek pod, and we'll see you on Sunday. Goodbye.
See you later.